Here's what happened, guys. Yesterday, Times Magazine released its Person of the Year, and it is the architects of AI. So it is great timing with what I've been talking about this week with AI and the important conversations we have to have as small business owners. So I'm going to get into, again, talking about physical world, digital world, some of the people that are on the cover of this magazine for the architects of AI. Then I want to bring back an interview that happened. I didn't realize that happened 8 months ago, but it's definitely doing its rounds right now on social media for clips between Nicole Shanahan and an interview with Allie Beth Stuckey. So I want to share more about what was said in that interview, and then gonna bring up again wellness centers. I forgot about that yesterday in yesterday's show. I want to bring that back into focus for today, and then share with you what I was forgetting when it came to the car insurance show as well. So I'm gonna share that at the end. So welcome back to the show. Let's get into it for today. The more as I keep going, and there's a lot of revelations I find as I keep going into the research with AI, and it feels like this dynamic of a helicopter parent with their children, and we as human beings are the children, and then there are certain human beings that are trying to act like the helicopter parent. And it comes back to what I've shared before on this show. When you can have the worldview of power and the rest of us, things that started to not make sense in your specific industry start to make a whole lot more sense, such as unnecessary regulations could be one, to why there's difficulties for barriers of entry. And it's interesting to just notice within your industry where there's perhaps unnecessary problems or unnecessary solutions for unnecessary problems. You feel like it's way more complex than it has to be in your specific industry. And that can come up just on specifically in your world, realizing that. But then when you take it into a broader view of our country that we live in and then the world overall, you can see how the complexity can become overwhelming. And is that intentional? Is that not intentional? Something to question, where if it doesn't make sense, I've said it before, be curious and ask questions. And the more I ask questions, the more I notice how this could be very intentional in a lot of different ways. And it's starting to put the pieces to the puzzle to figure out why we are in the situation that we are in today. And I think about that for our country. The norm isn't working. We're $38 trillion in debt as a country. The personal debt, you can look at just something as like credit card debt, which is over $1 trillion. And then you think about Gen Z. For young people, Gen Z is the most in debt generation for their age in the history of the US. So change is inevitable, and it's up to us as small businesses to unite in order to have a bigger voice in shaping the future moving forward. And when I get into the physical world and the digital world, that comes up. It's how do we make it more distinct? And then as small business owners, how can you differentiate? Because in yesterday's show, I talked about the Amish community and that statistic between Amish small businesses and non-Amish small businesses, and how the rate of failure for Amish businesses is less than 10% after 5 years. And then for non-Amish businesses, it's 50% failure rate after 5 years. And yes, there are, you could think about the scale of how many the difference in businesses, but there's something to be learned there, because does having more technology in your business, moving in the direction of AI, is that really where you need to make the priority currently in your small business? And then when you look across the industries, are there other areas? I think of one is discipline, bringing back discipline, structure in your day. If your day is all over the place and it's chaotic, I mean, focus there first. And then you can ask yourself, hey, is AI going to be really helpful when I have a solid foundation for myself? And I use AI. I see the benefits in AI for research. I use large language learning models like Grok, and it's been really helpful for saving time and helping to connect the dots. But there can be sinister ways. I've talked about before here on the show how AI can be used, such as dynamic pricing is one of those ways. and we got to continue to have more conversations about more conversations about how this can look moving forward in your specific industries. So who was in the photo or in the on the cover? I want to share. This goes back to who are you getting the messaging from that AI is going to disrupt all industries and it is going to completely transform how our economy works moving forward. And it's going to be in a lot of aspects of our daily life. Who is saying that? Right? Because some of the people that were on the cover, you have Elon Musk, CEO of XAI, and then you have Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI. Also, Elon was a co-founder of OpenAI. And then you have Jensen Huang, CEO of NVIDIA. I said that company's name way better than I've done in the past. And so he's on there. And with that company and its involvement in AI and its market share in a specific aspect of the AI, it's like, what are they saying about AI? Or what are other people that have an interest in AI's success? What are they saying? And when you can understand what are the incentives, structures that are put in place, it makes a whole lot more sense why there are certain narratives that are being pushed, like AI is a future. Because as small business owners, we absolutely have an opportunity here to put AI in check, to put boundaries around the genie, because the genie is out of the bottle. It's not going back in. I don't see that happening moving forward. And it's you look over history as human beings, you notice technology advances. It does. But we can decide the rate of advancement as well as the boundaries. And the way we can do that comes back to focusing on local communities, bringing back into supporting small businesses, making sure that the money stays within the community or within the country, and being able to provide new opportunities for jobs for Americans so that we can continue to raise the overall quality of life of our communities. And when small businesses are thriving, the quality of life of our communities improves. And when we can localize government involvement, be able to take away unnecessary government involvement or get rid of it for our industries, take it away where it doesn't make any sense, work with our elected officials that care about their citizens and that have that truly want to make sure that that the quality of life of Americans increases. That is, and it's just not for self-interest, which again, you ask yourself, who do you trust when it comes to elected officials and our big government institutions? I've said before, big government sucks. Where we can localize it, get rid of redundancies, that is other ways we can create boundaries around AI. Because I go to this line: economic disorder leads to political radicalism. So we've got to bring economic order back as small business owners in our over 1,000 industries here in the U.S. And with all businesses, 99% of all businesses are small businesses. So as I said, when we unite, when we can stand together, that is where we can have a bigger voice, a stronger voice moving forward, and where we can clearly understand what is at play here. What are the different layers of tactics that people are doing? Because I've said before, there are evil forces that are out there. You think of Marxists to global elites, and we as small business owners have to unite to face that evil. And when it comes to this elitism, that it comes back to the helicopter parent taking care of the kids. Like the messaging out there that's saying, oh, AI is way smarter than human beings. Yeah, it makes sense. When you're dealing with potentially millions of human beings that AI is studying from with the large language learning models, 1 million plus human beings compared to one human being, when we come together and we're not alone and we unite, we are stronger. We are more intelligent. We are able to have a bigger understanding of the world when we have perspectives coming from not just one person and their life experience. So of course, AI can have more power than one singular human being. And you see that comparison that happens. And I haven't dug too deep into this I think of like chess as one, but what's being used there on the computer side, if it's AI taking all the information and studying from all the masters of chess, like, of course that AI would beat one individual chess player. But then to connect this into the bigger conversation of saying AI is just so much smarter, so we have to let AI do most of the decision making for us and become this parent to us as human beings, being the children, that gets into this elitism that just pisses me off. It really does. It is disgusting. There's so much arrogance in that. And that is a disservice to human beings, to Americans in this country, that you actually can have a voice in deciding what this future looks like. You don't have to just accept what people are telling you is going to be the future, but you got to also be able to critically think, is this the direction that you want to move forward in your country? And when it comes to our country here in the U.S., because again, that message is global. I mean, I think about it, I see it across the country, across the globe, more of this talk of, oh yeah, we can decide what the future looks like. We don't have to put all of our trust and faith in institutions, because there are, I think of the fraud case in Minnesota that's coming out, and you look at other ways that here in the U.S. our taxpaying dollars are being used, and you see the waste and the fraud. It's a realization of how can we come back to small businesses and come back to localizing government and come back to supporting our communities and making sure that on an individual level we are preserving the freedoms that we have in this country and that we don't take it for granted. Okay, so that's my side quest of frustration of being pissed off here about this elitism that keeps coming up with messaging. And when another thing you can look up, I talked about it before, but is the Great Reset, relating back to the World Economic Forum and the Great Reset that was shared over COVID-19. Again, this part I shared it on this show, but it was this gaslighting that was happening that people were questioning whether or not this was leaked from a lab, and they were shunned for that, for questioning it. They were kicked off of platforms for questioning it and put as misinformation. But then now, when it comes to our own intelligence agency saying there's that there's a likelihood that it came from a lab leak, and again, there's no 100% agreement within the intelligence community, but to still have certain ones saying that there's a likelihood that it did. It reminds me of this. It's so frustrating to see something like that, where we can't question, where we're told you just gotta not trust your gut here and listen to what we're saying. And you can get that within your industry, from the leaders in your industry to your you think about it for elected officials. You can get that from even within your own communities that can come up. But it's important for us to come back to critical thinking, to question, and to be able to come to a conclusion for ourselves. And it's really important for us to be able to do that. So the interview I want to talk about, so again, with the Great Reset, it connects to this interview between Nicole Shanahan, a philanthropist, ex-wife of Google co-founder. She also was a running mate of RFK Jr. For president when he was running. And then this interview is between her and then Ali Beth Stuckey on Ali Beth Stuckey's podcast, episode 1159. So you can look this up. But there's a quote I want to pull out of this that connects back to the Great Reset. And if you don't know what, again, the Great Reset is, you can look on it at the World Economic Forum. But for me, the feeling I get is the sinister feeling relating to this Great Reset. In my gut, it just does not feel, it feels wrong. And it really makes me question the motives behind the Great Reset. But here's a quote from the interview. Nicole says, quote, "Tech wife mafias, I believe, were being conscripted in many ways, and their money especially was being conscripted to set the groundwork for the Great Reset, specifically through a network of NGO advisors, relationship with Hollywood, relationship with Davos, and their own companies," end quote. hearing that from someone that was inside in this group, and hearing her experience, and again, you can see more of the interview. You you're able to. Well, one, this takes a lot of courage. I think about that. It takes a lot of courage for her to share this and to express this. Again, I'm so surprised to see this was 8 months ago, and now clips are like, I'm just seeing the clips now. But it takes a lot of courage for that to share the truth and to speak that for your experience. And I do know that truth will win. Truth will win, and it continues to win out there. And the more that we can express the truth and share that, the better our, not only our country here in the U.S., but our world overall will be. And when it comes to her talking more about this, it helps for people to realize that it's not crazy to listen to your gut and what it's communicating to you. And when things feel off, being able to, and doesn't make sense, be curious and ask questions. And so it is a conversation I recommend listening to more for her experience on this. But it comes back to then when she mentioned that she talked about the Great Reset, Davos, the relationship with Davos, World Economic Forum. It keeps coming up for me, this 2030 prediction that was shared on the World Economic Forum, which said you will own nothing and you'll be happy. And that pisses me off, hearing that, because you think about here in the U.S., we go to the Declaration of Independence, Constitution. I mean, when was the last time you read those? And you understood your individual rights, your God-given rights. We can take it for granted, the life that we live in. There is a lot of pain out there right now, absolutely. And there's a lot of opportunity for us to make meaningful change, but we have to go against some really strong forces. And that's where we got to unite, come together to be able to work with our elected officials that care about their citizens and to move forward. And within our industries, there are over 1,000 plus industries, be able to lead by example in bringing economic order. But to see something like that, you'll own nothing, you'll be happy. It pisses me off seeing something like that, because that goes back to where the roads lead to, which is the abolish of private property. And you think about socialism as the appetizer to communism, moving forward into that, to where all the roads lead to is the abolish of private property. The Marxists goes back to our evil forces that we're battling with this movement, for fighting for our republic and fighting for what is beautiful, good, and true. I hope it pisses you off too, and say enough's enough. Like, we're here to improve our communities. We're here for increasing quality of life, and we're here for understanding what the truth is. And you have to go through layers. You have to go through layers. It's the onion peeling back these layers, these manipulation, this gaslighting, this, don't question us. All of it, you gotta peel it back. And, get to know your neighbors is one. Get to know the people in your community. Have conversations. Focus more as well in the physical world. Because this, I believe, is a great marketing advantage that small businesses can move forward in. We have a great opportunity here as small business owners to really set the standard of trust and predictability, to avoid the dynamic pricing, to get back to cash instead of a cashless society, because you have the push for cashless society, push for universal basic income. These, I said it before here on the show, you can go all the way back. This is when I was talking about burnout. Universal basic income, it did not work for, I think of what this is trying to set us up for the human experience is us to just sit around and be sheep. There's meaning that can come with our work. There it's and I've experienced both. I've experienced being given money, both through government, through parent support, and then earning money. And there's a big difference between the two for the feeling. You when it comes to human experience moving forward, feeling like a provider as a man, feeling like I'm able to support my partner and support my family. This feeling of like I am on a mission here and I have meaning in my life. That is stuff that we got to continue to move forward and amplify to change how our future is going to be shaped moving forward as small business owners. And to just think that all that's going to get wiped away, we have an opportunity here to stand firm together and unite. Because again, as I said, cash, using more cash. That's something I'm going to be thinking about moving forward. Understanding the small businesses in your area and your community, supporting those businesses where you can for your needs. I'm not saying, I'm not saying you're not going to have to go to big business. I'd have to go to big business for certain things, but wherever you can, being informed and understanding more about these companies that you're supporting, understanding who you can support for other fellow small business owners, or your support small business owners. It's important to be informed. And there's been so many of these vices that come into our daily lives that can try to overwhelm us and cause us to be distracted from what really could be going on behind the scenes when it comes to that worldview of power in the rest of us. And again, for me, I'm trying to understand more about this and understand what is going on a deeper level. And as I said before for the show, for my commitment is to seek the truth, and wherever it leads, courageously being able to share that. And through your support with this movement, this determined movement that is growing, that continues to help fuel me to move forward and express that truth to you. Because two big things that get pushed to try to make things happen are social justice and climate change, are two big ones that come up. And it was something that Nicole Shanahan talked about in her conversation with Allie Beth Stuckey, how that can get pushed. And I've talked about it before, where it doesn't make sense is the AI data centers. You're saying AI is going to solve, is going to be the future and going to solve a lot of our problems. And I think about then the impact, though, that these data centers have on our climate, and how data centers for 2024, not for all data centers here, this is less than 6,000 data centers here in the US, 183 terawatt hours of electricity were used. So to give you an idea, 10 terawatt hours, I've said this before for the example, 10 terawatt hours is the equivalent of a full year of electricity for all is more power than for a full year of electricity usage for all the homes in Nashville. 10 terawatt hours is more than that. You think of then the CO2 equivalent emissions. For 2023, it was 100 to 105 megatons of CO2 equivalent emissions from the AI data centers. Compare that to the estimated 11 million homes that burn wood. That is 0.04 to 0.5 megatons. And you see the campaigns that are out there of, don't watch out with burning your wood, with the impact it can have for pollution. And over here, you have these AI data centers, or just overall data centers that are producing a lot of pollutants as well when it comes to CO2 emissions. So things just don't make sense. And you continue to have to ask yourself that worldview of power in the rest of us. And I won't stop. And I know that we have a lot of work ahead of us, a lot of challenges, a lot of short-term thinking has happened over the decades, and we got to now think long-term, think for future generations and not just ourselves. And it's going to be a lot of hard work, and it isn't fair, really. I mean, that is the truth. It isn't fair, but we got to do something about it. And I love this country. I hope you love this country too. And we got to preserve the freedoms that we have on an individual level, and move forward and be able to really create real meaningful change. So I want to talk about the wellness centers because this is interesting to explore more about. You may be familiar with certain wellness centers that are including cold and hot therapies, saunas, cold plunges, have gyms, community spaces. And it's interesting to see where that growth goes for young people of wanting to come to the wellness center rather than going out to the bar or the club. And noticing the trends that happen with, I've shared before, of having like 1 day off with no technology to timeout zones. I'm really been interested to see what this impact can have on young people, and helping to create the space to be able to be informed, to be knowledgeable of what's going on out there in the world and in the country here in the US. And then the other correction I want to make was the telematics. Telematics was what could be added in the policy to decrease car insurance. There was the story out of UK talking about this, but telematics is an AI tracking. It uses AI tracking. So you can see all these different aspects of life where AI is coming into our daily lives. And you think of this, again, it's the idea of Big Brother vibes. We gotta again, be able to stand together and push back and determine what is the future we actually want to create here, and work together and unite in what that future can be like. So one way that you can be able to do that in person that I'm excited to be able to share with you is on January 15th. Small business owners across the country and across industries are coming together to be able to connect and build our future. And this is the A Future Fest that is happening on January 15th in downtown Charleston, South Carolina. I'll be there. We already have business owners that are coming across the country already. I get really excited for what can happen for conversations and being able to work together in helping to bring economic order in our over thousand industries, 1,000+ industries, and then being able to come back to this line where when small businesses are thriving, the quality of life of our communities improves. And so if you are a small business owner that wants to connect with other small business owners and you care about this country, then I'm excited to be able to see you there at the summit. You can check out in the description more information about the event. And again, thank you for your support with this movement. It is a determined movement, is a growing movement, and is a movement to be able to bring this vision into reality that America's future is a small business renaissance. I'll see you next week.